Yes.
Oh, I hate the Twitter thing. Okay.
Good evening. We are live right here on the Believe in Monsters podcast, 1 day away from the NFL season getting started, 1 day away from the Bears getting started on its 17-0 season. Super Bowl, Super Bears, Hard Knocks wrapped up last night. And this is the Believe in Monsters podcast. You're listening to us as part of the Believe Network. I'm Joe Gaither, along with our friends Chris Krogman and Lucas Berry. And it's time to slow our roll. Reality is hitting at our face. HBO is done with us, and it's time to play professional men. The Tennessee Titans are up first, and we are pleasantly joined by a guest covering the Tennessee Titans. You can follow him at Titans Film Room. Justin Graver will join us. But before we get into it with Justin Graver, let's figure out how our friends are doing. Chris Krogman, have you come down from the last 3.5 minutes of the finale of last night's Hard Knocks episode?
No, I just keep watching it over and over and over again, and just watching Caleb just focus. He's dialed in. He's ready. I'm ready. I haven't been this excited for a season in a while, so I'm on an all-time high.
Lucas Berry, I know you were crying right along with Ryan Poles. You can follow Lucas Berry at lberry_40 and Chris Krogman at ShyBears1985. Lucas Berry, did you have your tissues out as Ryan Poles was making final cuts?
Yeah, it was a somber moment when he had to cut that guy. I don't even know his name.
Adrian Colbert.
Adrian Colbert. Yeah, he's been around the league for a while. I know he's played for like 7 or 8 years. Been around the league. Now it was a cool story. Cool to see the GM get emotional and actually show some human emotion and not just a robot just washing his hands of these guys when camp's over and that's it. So, Justin, welcome into the show. First time here on BIM. Feel free to introduce yourself and everything you got going and let us know if you watch Hard Knocks and your thoughts on that. It's okay. If not, no worries.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you guys for having me. Yes, my name is Justin Graver. I cover the Titans. We got a podcast called the Music City Audible on YouTube, on Twitter at Titans Film Room, as you said. And I also produce the Heed the Call podcast with Dan Hansis and Mark Sessler, which is a big NFL podcast, formerly around the NFL. Now, Greg Rosenthal stuck with the NFL for NFL Daily. Dan and Mark now have Heed the Call, so I would say check that one out. But thanks for having me. I watched the first 4 episodes of Hard Knocks, but I have not caught last night's quite yet. So I did see the Adrian Colbert scene on Twitter today, though, so that was kind of sad.
Yeah, well, he's a good dude.
Yeah,
they focused in on him in episode 4 a little bit. I know I forgot his name, but really, he's been through a lot in his life, and it's kind of a heartwarming story that he made it to the NFL, and then obviously it sucks to see him get cut, but you got to root for guys like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what being a sports fan is all about, I feel like. But it looks like he's back on the Bears practice squad, right? So yeah. At least his career will continue.
Absolutely.
Well, let's get into some real football. We've been geeking out over some preseason football. Bears going 3-4-0 if you count the Hall of Fame game. We've been excited. Only seeing Caleb Williams for a half and change. You get the Bills game and a little bit of the Bengals game. Let's talk about the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans, they're in the middle of their overhaul. Justin Graver, what's going to be the expectations for week number 1? The Titans a 4.5-point underdog when they come into Soldier Field. Obviously, rookie quarterbacks, I think rookie first-round quarterbacks, rookie number 1 overall quarterbacks, or something like 0-13, 0-14 in week number 1. How will the Tennessee Titans
against the spread?
Okay. Thank you. Come into Chicago and spoil the fun.
Well, the last time a rookie quarterback won a week 1 game start, no, not first overall picks, not against the spread. Any rookie quarterback won a week 1 start was 2018 Sam Darnold. Bet you didn't know that little trivia fact. So challenges there for Caleb Williams. I think 4.5 points is a little rich. I don't necessarily think the Titans will win or should win. I don't think the Bears will or should win either. I just think it's going to be a pretty close game. Like, there's no real film on either of these offenses. And like, yeah, you can go look at the Seahawks and Shane Waldron, but totally different quarterbacks, totally different. I mean, both teams have good trios of wide receivers, but pretty different teams. And I think Shane Waldron's going to put his own spin on things in Chicago. And then for Tennessee, both sides of the ball completely overhauled coaching staff and roster. So week 1 is always the hardest week to project. And then week 2 sometimes is also just as hard, because a lot of times what you see in week 1 is like vanishes after that week for some reason. But I am like, I don't even know what to expect from the Titans in week 1. I expect it to look a lot different than it did under Mike Vrabel. I expect the like first and second down runs to have mostly not be present the way we've seen them. Obviously, you're not going to be pounding Derrick Henry up the middle of the defense because there is no Derrick Henry. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Brian Callahan deploys this offense. I think it's going to be a lot more short passing game, screens to the running backs, to the tight ends, quick passes to wide receivers against off coverage. If you get that opportunity, like a side adjustment, just hit the quick pass to the wide receiver. And something Brian Callahan talked about earlier this week is he wants Will Levis to just take what the defense gives him, manage the game, and protect the ball. So I think for the first month or so of the season for the Titans, everybody wants explosive plays. Everybody wants long touchdowns and exciting offense. I think for this Titans, the first month of the season, it's more about just like, let's see what we are. Let's see what we're good at. And we will get better as the season goes along. So for now, Will, don't turn the ball over. Take the checkdowns, and let's just put some drives together and control the clock. So I think that's sort of the goal for the Titans offense in week 1.
Yeah, you see a lot of that out of that Bengals offense with the quick passes out to the flat and the get your ball in the hands of your playmakers. A lot of similarities between, I think, the Bears and the Titans coming into this game. The more I, kind of looked at the Titans roster makeup with, the defense and offensive sides of the ball, like you said, good trio of wide receivers on both sides. I think the quick game is going to be important for Caleb as well, just getting the ball out quickly, getting, into DJ Moore and Keenan Allen's hands. I saw your tweet on DJ Moore and his game in the blizzard last year, and it's going to be a good matchup. How do you kind of see the strength of the Bears defense is the secondary? Looks like that's kind of similar with the Titans as well. How do you see the Titans offense and those wide receivers matching up with that strong Bears secondary?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I do think like both of these teams are sort of built outside in terms of like the cornerbacks and the wide receivers are the big strengths, whereas that's not really typical for what we've seen from some of the dominant teams over the last few years. Like think about the Niners and the Eagles, like these teams that are dominant in the trenches. The Bears and the Titans are both taking a different approach. So I am curious to see how that plays out for both of them. Brett Coleman, who's big Twitter film breakdown guy with Underdog, with NFL, he's done a lot of stuff. He put out one of his top 5 matchups for the week that he's looking forward to seeing, individual matchups. And he said L'Jarius Sneed boxing match versus Rome Odunze. Now, I have a ton of respect for Brett Coleman, and I think he does fantastic work. I don't think we're going to see L'Jarius Sneed on Rome Odunze all that often. Last season, when the Bears and the Chiefs played, L'Jarius Sneed shadowed DJ Moore. He allowed 1 catch on 5 targets for 4 yards. He has the confidence in himself and probably of the coaching staff to just take on this matchup with DJ Moore, who is, I think, a very underrated receiver in the league. I'm sure Bears fans think he is very underrated in terms of the national spotlight that he doesn't get, that I think he deserves a lot more of. And yeah, you mentioned my blizzard tweet. Sorry, I live in LA. Like I said, I don't really know what a blizzard is. I got a lot of replies that were like, you don't know what a blizzard is? It's like, okay, snowstorm, sue me, whatever. But yeah, that game against AJ Terrell mostly matched up on him. 9 catches, 159 yards and a touchdown. Like, he terrifies me. And I think L'Jarius Sneed is going to do a nice job on him, but that doesn't mean he's not going to give up some big plays here and there too. I think the most interesting matchup though, and the most concerning from a Titans perspective, is going to be Keenan Allen in the slot up against Roger McCreary. And I think Roger McCreary is an ascending player. He's a solid nickel corner. He has a chance to be a very good nickel corner, but he has some like physical deficiencies that are just prevent him from going to ever be like really elite. Like, he has short arms. He's not the fastest guy. So trying to cover quick Keenan Allen, who is a route running master, over the middle of the field and in, open space, I think that's going to present a huge challenge for the Titans. And the Titans linebackers, they just traded for Ernest Jones from the Rams. He's probably going to be worked in slowly. He's not going to start this game, Brian Callahan said. And Kenneth Murray, who they signed from the Chargers after he was essentially a first-round bust for that team. Like, neither of these guys have ever been, Jack Gibbons, and Kenneth Murray, neither of them have ever been really good in coverage and not particularly great across the middle of the field. So if you're asking Roger McCreary one-on-one with Keenan Allen and he's got like an option route that takes him over the middle of the field, I don't have a lot of confidence that the Titans linebackers are going to be in the right spot to disrupt that or to break up a pass or take away a passing lane. So that is the wide receiver matchup for the Bears that is the most concerning for me.
Yeah, it's actually funny you bring up last year's matchup versus L'Jarius Sneed on DJ Moore when the Bears played the Chiefs. Just because this year it's such a different Bears offense, where last year you took DJ Moore out of the game and you really didn't have too many other weapons to throw to. Now you add Keenan Allen, now you have Rome Odunze, and none of us have really seen what they'll do in this Bears offense, so it will definitely be interesting. And I guess one of the guys that we've been talking about a lot on this podcast being, I guess, more of an X factor on the Bears that hasn't really been getting the national spotlight is DeAndre Swift. And I think that's maybe where, the Bears could maybe exploit some weak linebacker play, especially in the pass game that you're kind of explaining. But like Chris alluded to, it's going to be an interesting game just because there's so much about these teams that is unknown and so much new stuff coming out for both these teams, coaching staff, personnel changes, young quarterbacks. So it'll be a fascinating game to watch.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think DeAndre Swift, I don't know what it is about DeAndre Swift, like that the advanced analytics and the football nerds, like they seem to hate him for some reason. Like, I don't know, every time I watched him with the Eagles last year and with, before that with the Lions, it's like, this guy's electric with the ball in his hands. Like, he's definitely a guy that terrifies me from a Titans perspective. I do think the Titans run defense is like one of the biggest mysteries to me. It's either going to be lock down, you're not gaining a yard, or holes everywhere. Like, I literally have no idea what to expect because you got big Jeffrey Simmons, big Tavondre Sweat, second round pick this year in the middle of that defense who are going to be, looking to eat up blocks, sort of like, I expect them to sort of be two gapping across the middle of that interior and trying to allow these linebackers free lanes to the backfield to not have to be like, you don't want Kenneth Murray staring at two gaps and saying, you got to cover both of these gaps. It's like Kenneth Murray needs to have one gap that he can shoot. And same for, you're going to bring a safety down in the box to help probably. I think they're probably going to force Caleb Williams to throw the ball just because it's like, he's got a ton of arm talent, ton of natural talent all around, but it's a rookie in your first NFL start. How we're going to dare you to beat us through the air, Caleb Williams. I feel like that's the approach they're going to take with that. So I think they are going to sort of sell out to stop the run. They're going to bring those safeties down in the box. They're going to have, if they're in nickel personnel, they're going to have that nickel coming down and getting in the action in the run game to really try to fill up all those gaps. But I think in the passing game with DeAndre Swift against those linebackers, or if he gets matched up with a safety, if they split him out wide or whatever, like that's an area the Bears are going to exploit. The one thing I wonder about, and this is maybe you guys would know better than me and tell me if I'm wrong here, but Caleb Williams, the electric playmaking that he's been showing off in the preseason, grain of salt, all that, truly unbelievable stuff. Like what he can do out of structure when a play breaks down or when he escapes the pocket. But what he was doing in structure, I thought left a little to be desired, which is not necessarily unexpected for a rookie quarterback. And he had in the first preseason game he played, he had that great third down conversion to DJ Moore where he throws it lasers it into a tight window. And that was very much in structure. But I felt like for the most part, the in structure stuff, like he was either a tick late or he didn't see it. And he had to create out of structure, which he's really good at. But are you guys concerned at all that that running back against that linebacker matchup's going to be there, but Caleb's eyes are going to be on the other side of the field, or he doesn't exactly know where to go with the ball yet because he's still trying to figure things out?
A little bit, but I think those growing pains are going to be natural. Are part of it. I think that you're exactly right. There were some fundamentals in the preseason action that could have gone a bit better. But obviously you have the electric and kind of the jaw-dropping playmaking ability when it's like, oh, I messed that up, but I can come back around and save it for you in a way that you never seen before in your life. So you would like to see, or I would like to see, a more disciplined, more consistent in the structure of the offense play. But for now, I think I, at least, am very happy to be living and dying with the results as he works out. Okay, and when I get this look, I'm looking here, and when I get that look, I'm looking there, and working through that when he gets by getting experience.
Yeah, I totally agree too. I think it's the growing pains. What Denard Wilson is, I mean, we have no idea what to expect from Denard Wilson, the new Titans defensive coordinator. Spent the last year in Baltimore. 2 years before that was with Philadelphia. Before that, he's with the Jets, learning under Todd Bowles. He's, said that his mentors as a defensive coordinator are Todd Bowles and Greg Williams, who are like the blitziest blitzers of all defensive coordinators. He spent the last year working under Mike McDonald, who sort of does a different thing. He does like the simulated pressure thing where he walks 6 or 7 guys up to the line of scrimmage, but then only 4 of them are coming after the quarterback and the rest are dropping into coverage. I'm super curious to see if Denard Wilson, which one he's more like. Is he more like Mike McDonald, who coordinated one of the best defenses in NFL history last year, first defense to ever lead the league in sacks, points allowed, and takeaways over the course of a full season? Or is he going to be more like the guys he said are his mentors, where it's like, yeah, we got 6 guys up on the line of scrimmage, and they're all coming after you, and we're going to leave our corners on an island in 0 coverage because we trust L'Jarius Sneed against DJ Moore, and we trust Chido Awuzie against Rome Odunze, and we trust Roger McCreary to an extent against Keenan Allen? Or are they going to try to make Caleb's head spin a little bit with, like, you got 7 guys on the line of scrimmage, and 4 of them are on the right side, and 3 of them are on the left, and all 3 guys on the left bail into coverage, and now your offensive line's dealing with, like, trying to figure out their assignments there because you're overloaded on that side. And Caleb's like, I thought I had the hot on the left, but now everyone on the left is dropping into coverage. So I got to turn to the right. And then you take a sack because the corners for the Titans do allow that extra half second for the rush to get home. That's where I'm kind of at with the defense. And I think if Caleb has a great game in this week 1 matchup, which I think is certainly on the table, it's going to be because he's getting that pressure and he's able to escape it. He's able to use his athleticism and his playmaking ability to sort of be like, yeah, you had a great defensive call, and yeah, you stumped me pre-snap. I wasn't sure where to go with the ball, but I'm so athletically gifted that I can make it work anyway. I feel like that's going to be sort of the story of Caleb Williams for the first, 4 or 5 games of the season until it starts to click for him.
100%. I think from what I've seen from Caleb so far is his ability to get something the first time. Like, once you show him something, he's like, okay, now I've seen it. Don't do it again because I know it and I've seen it coming. So if it's going to be playing mind games with him, let's do it all week. Let's do it all week 1. Like, I'd love to see like just him get everything thrown at him, work through those problems. Hopefully they still come out with a win. But I think, from the other Titans content that I looked at, this the defensive coordinator is going to be a very attack style defensive coordinator, and we're going to see a lot of blitzes. So either Caleb figures it out quick and gets to his hot right away, throws over the middle to Allen and Cole Kmet, or he tries to escape and use his abilities to go off script. So it'll be interesting to watch that matchup for sure.
Yeah, totally agree. I think it's going to be very blitz heavy, and that's why you bring in a guy like Kenneth Murray and why you trade for a guy like Ernest Jones, who are 2 very good blitzers from the linebacker spot. And because the Titans don't really have that guy up front, at least on the edge, that's going to win a one-on-one pass rushing matchup. I mean, Harold Landry's their best edge rusher, but he's sort of like a tier 2 guy. Like, he's a great effort guy. He cleans up plays, gets a lot of his sacks from cleaning up a play. But he's not a guy that's going to just like, he's not Max Crosby, Myles Garrett. He's not going to beat your tackle off the edge every time. Jeffrey Simmons might do that on the interior, but you probably double team him. And he's a guy that he has a ton of talent and Titans fans love him, but he's not been the most consistent player throughout his career so far. And that's like the next step for him to take, is to be more consistent. Like, it'll explode for a 3-sack game and then go quiet for 4 weeks. So I think the Bears, if they double team him inside, they'll be able to neutralize him to some extent. And that's why that blitzing and the pressure from other areas of the field is going to be so important for the Titans defense.
Yeah, I think you kind of I mean, I think honestly, heading into this game, I think a lot of Bears fans are underrating the Titans secondary pieces that they've added, this offseason. I know you're talking about some of the areas where they're weak, but again, I think you're able to bring some of those pressures and unique looks when you have secondary guys like L'Jarius Sneed back there who can survive on an island on his own versus, a player like DJ Moore or Keenan Allen, if he's lined up on him for whatever reason. So I do think that will be an interesting matchup to watch. I think the Titans secondary is very good, very underrated, and excited to see that one. Kind of want to flip sides of the ball here and hear your thoughts on what the Titans offense is going to bring to the table. I know we talked a little bit about the Bengals similarities. Now they have Brian Callahan as the coach. Just how do you feel about Will Levis in this offense? How does Calvin Ridley fit in with Hopkins? They still have Hopkins, obviously, and they added Tyler Boyd. So how do these new pieces fit in this Titans offense, and how do you think they'll deploy them?
And J.C. Latham.
And J.C. Latham, first-round pick, 7 overall, slotting in at left tackle. Lloyd Cushenberry brought over from Denver to play center, so they try to rebuild the offensive line. They add all these pieces on the outside. They bring in a new head coach, new offensive staff. The expectations and the optimism in Tennessee are very high. Like, Titans fans, for the most part, believe that Will Levis is a franchise quarterback, and he's going to go out and prove it this year. And I am very cautiously optimistic that that is going to be the case. I think the system is going to be very quarterback friendly. I mean, when you see what Jake Browning was able to do coming in middle of last year for the Bengals and run a similar system and really execute it at a pretty high level for a guy that most people thought wouldn't even be a backup in the NFL. I think with Will Levis, with that pairing with Brian Callahan, it's going to get the best out of him. But I think it's going to take a few weeks before we see like a really explosive version of the Titans offense. And I think this is going to be a big like check down game for Will Levis, a big like high completion percentage, but low yards per attempt type of game for him, where he really like they've been drilling it into his head this offseason that it's like, take the check down, take what the defense gives you, get to that check down as your second read. Don't go through your entire progression if you feel like you can't get there, because these running backs, Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, like they can make a guy miss and take a 4-yard catch and make it a 10-yard gain and pick up those first downs. And you can throw it short of the sticks to them on 3rd and 9, and they can maybe pick up some of these, not every time, but they're going to pick up some first downs in those situations. So I think it's going to be like, you're not going to see when Will Levis debuted against the Falcons and he threw like 3 40+ yard touchdowns. Like, I don't think it's going to look like that. I don't think they're even going to be trying to make it look like that. And that's the thing with Will Levis. He's got that big arm. He's got a very aggressive mentality. He led the NFL in average depth of target last year. Like, he wants to throw that ball down the field, and they've been trying to rein him in all offseason, which I think is a better place to be as a coach if you have a quarterback. Like, I'd rather try to rein a guy in than try to make a guy be more aggressive. But I definitely think it's going to be like, let's just take what the defense has given you. Take the 2-yard completion, take the 5-yard completion, set up 3rd and 3. Don't go for the 20-yard bomb when you don't have exactly what you're looking for just because you trust the good receiver to go make a play. Like, I don't think it's going to look like that in week 1. I think it's going to be very pass heavy though. Like, Brian Callahan was talking about the running game and saying like, we don't measure rushing success based on how many carries we have or how many yards per carry. And this is like the most refreshing thing to hear as a fan of a team, is that your head coach understands that running the ball does not lead to wins, but that winning leads to running the ball. He literally said this on a podcast earlier this week. So that was very encouraging, but it also makes me think like they're going to run the ball when they think the defense is not expecting it. On like a 3rd and 4 or something, they're going to run a draw play or something like that. Like, the run plays, like they're measuring their success based on efficiency and based on success rate. And he even threw out EPA, which I'm like, praise God, we got a coach that knows what EPA is. But yeah, I think the offense, it's going to be balanced. It's going to be a lot of screens, like I said before, and it's going to not be a lot of the bomb. Like, we're not going to see the Levis bombs in week 1, I don't think.
I want to see the Levis bombs.
Justin, how do you specifically feel about Calvin Ridley and J.C. Latham?
Specifically, I think Bama guys in the NFL are the best guys. Now, I'm a Hook'em Longhorn myself, so I think the Hook'em Longhorns are also very good up there. But I'll give you your Bama love there, because I actually think J.C. Latham's going to be a very good player. I think Calvin Ridley was very miscast in Jacksonville, trying to make him an X receiver. It does worry me a little bit because, like, DeAndre Hopkins, when he was a young buck and he was like tearing up the league, yeah, he was a dominant X receiver. But last year he played like 40%, almost 40% of his snaps from the slot. He was at like 30% the year before that in Arizona. Now you bring in Tyler Boyd. Like Tyler Boyd's not lining up outside. Tyler Boyd, if he's on the field, he's in the slot. Calvin Ridley was like miscast as an X. He needs to be your Z receiver. He needs to be a guy that's moving back and forth across the line of scrimmage, getting the free release, going in motion before the snap, so that you can take advantage of matchups and not get him jammed up at the line of scrimmage. Well, if that's the case, and Tyler Boyd's in the slot and Calvin Ridley's your Z, now you're pushing Hopkins back at the X position, which like it's not that he can't be good there at this age in this stage of his career. I just don't think you're getting the most out of him if he's lining up at X on 95% of snaps. And I think they know that. So I'm very curious to see, like, is there going to be sets, like formations where the tight end splits out wide and essentially is your X, and DeAndre Hopkins gets to line up in the slot and Tyler Boyd gets to line up in the slot on the other side of the field. And maybe Calvin Ridley's off the field on that play, or Tyler Boyd's off the field on that play. And you got Hopkins and Ridley both sort of moving around. Like, I think they're going to rotate these receivers a bunch, because I don't like, they're all three talented guys in their own right, but they don't necessarily, like, they're not a perfect what's the word I'm trying to, like, complement to each other. Yeah.
Well, when they added Calvin Ridley, that's kind of why it's just a little surprising to me that you're like, they're trying to rein Levis in, just because, like, I'm like, they paid Calvin Ridley all that money. They have Hopkins. I mean, you're basically building an offense where you're like, all right, we're going to throw this thing down the freaking field, and these guys are going to earn their money, making these contested catches down the field, because I think really that's where Hopkins is going to thrive, and Ridley's going to thrive. And, maybe perhaps I'm biased. I absolutely love Calvin Ridley. He's on all my fantasy teams this year. I'm like all in on this guy. I've always liked him. We'll see. But you're right. It'll be interesting to see what they do week one, how they're trying to rein Levis in and how they deploy it. And you kind of alluded to it as well. They have two fantastic pass catching running backs as well, who obviously will help in that regard big time. I'll toss it over to.
That's the matchup that's going to eat right there. That's the matchup that's going to give the Bears trouble.
Yeah, for sure. Tajay Spears scares the hell out of me.
Yep. Because you're gonna have the Bears defensive backs do fine, probably good, probably net neutral against the wide receivers, but you're gonna have some problems with those running backs out of the backfield.
Shifty running backs and receivers we always have problems with those guys. Like if you have Jalen Johnson trying to cover Ridley, that's not a great matchup. I'd rather have Kyler Gordon on him. But like all of our cornerbacks are big. They're not really they're not built for speed. So it'll be interesting to see how the Titans use Calvin Ridley. If they try to, send him on a lot of crossing routes and whatnot, we could be in some trouble. But it'll be good. Go ahead.
That's sort of how we saw him used in the preseason. I'm trying not to take too much from the preseason, but like Calvin Ridley was running like shallow crossers on third down, and he took one, slipped the tackle, and got a first down on it. Later in the next preseason game, or the last preseason game, he was running like a deep post, and the defensive back just straight up fell down. It was wide open, and Levis found him. So like things like that probably aren't going to happen in terms of defensive backs just straight up falling down, because you're playing against preseason and it's backups playing, and the Titans were still playing their starters. But they are going to use him, I think, on those like fields, like stretch the field horizontally with Calvin Ridley and allow him to try to pick up yards after catch. And I say all this not to say that the Titans aren't going to take any deep shots. I just think it's going to be, they're going to use the short passing game to sort of set up some of these deep shots. Maybe like late second quarter, second half, we start to see them a little bit more. But I would not be shocked if the leading receiver for the Titans in this game, in terms of receptions, is a running back. Or if like Pollard and Spears combine for like 9 catches, and that if they were one player, like the running back position leads all other Titans players in total catches in this game. Because I think it's going to be like dump off, check down city week 1 for Will Levis.
And it's not even, I mean, you make a good point about how it's week 1 and that's what they're going to try and do. But to be completely honest with you, Justin, I mean, I'm not saying this is like the 85 Bears out here, but the way Matt Eberflus has constructed his defense and played defense since he was in Indianapolis is do not give up the big play, keep everything in front of you. We'll give them, those little dink and dunks, but we're not going to let them score. And it's kind of really that old school mentality of bend but don't break. And last year the Bears were really, really good at limiting, really big plays from happening. So to your point, that's probably going to be the game plan this week. I think that is the one way teams kind of have to attack the Bears just because of how they play. So something to keep in mind, and you make really good points there.
And something that it's either going to work or not work based on a few factors. I think like you're playing on the road in week 1 with a starting offensive line unit that hasn't really played together in regular season football. If you're on like an 8-play 50-yard drive and you make it to the 35-yard line of the Bears, and then you false start, and now it's 1st and 15. And then you got a rookie left tackle going up against Montez Sweat, and he gives up a sack. And Will Levis has not been the best at evading sacks or getting rid of the ball quickly. And now it's 2nd and 23 from all the way back at the 48-yard line or whatever. It's like, okay, good job. You put together an 8-play 50-yard drive, and now you're facing 3rd and 30. And it's like, what are you going to do now? So I do think like if the Titans can, because the Titans are going to have to put these long drives together. And if they can stay on schedule and they can avoid taking the negative plays and on the road in a hostile environment, do a good job of not committing penalties and false starting and stuff, then they're going to have success. And I think this is going to be a game where Brian Callahan's probably going to prove to be an aggressive coach, where he's going to be a go for it on 4th down kind of guy. But I think in this game, if you've got 3 points that you could take, essentially, he's probably taking them and then saving the aggressiveness for like, all right, it's week 7. We know what our identity is. We know what we like to go to in this situation. But I mean, he's never called plays before outside of the preseason, right? So you're taking a first-time play caller who's also the head coach, by the way. It's like he's never done the play calling without being a head coach. Now he has all the duties of a head coach as well. Denard Wilson's never called plays on the defensive side of the ball. So you got these 2 new play callers who are also coordinating their sides of the ball. And one of them is also the head coach. It's like, it's a lot on their plate for week 1. And I think they just want to sort of simplify. And that's why I think it's going to be a low scoring game, because I think both teams are going to try to do this possess the ball for a long time thing and eat minutes off the clock. And it's going to be like lower possession count game. And probably like one team may break 20 and the other won't. And whoever breaks 20 wins the game.
Yeah, new coaching staff and new players all around. Just brand new Titans. But yeah, it's a fresh start for really both squads. I mean, Bears are only 3 years into this rebuild, so we're itching to get going.
I'm sure.
He's Justin Graver, and you can follow him at Titans Film Room. So, Justin, get us out of here by telling us about Heed the Call podcast, and we're going to nail you down on a pick. We're 1 day away from the season starting with Ravens and Chiefs. We are talking about Titans and Bears. Are you taking the Titans to win up there in Chicago? Tell everybody about where they can find you, and give us a pick as we say thank you for your time.
All right. You can follow me on Twitter at Titans Film Room. Check out our podcast. Me and Justin Mello. We're the only Justin and Justin Titans podcast in the history of time that I'm aware of. So check out the Music City Audible on YouTube. And on that podcast today, I predicted Titans 20, Bears 14. I think it's going to be a situation where the Bears have a chance to go win the game with a game-winning drive, and the Titans defense holds. But if you told me that it was flipped and the Bears won 20-14, I would believe it, that is totally a possibility. My co-host picked Bears 24, Titans 21. So he's not even, I don't know, is he even a Titans fan? We're still trying to figure that out. But I am going to pick the Titans, but it's with a very cautious pick here. And then Heed the Call, Dan Hansis and Mark Sessler, part of the Underdog Network. Check them out on YouTube at Heed the Call. Check out us on social at Heed the Call Pod. It's like a very silly, fun, funny, goofy football podcast with a lot of analysis and a touch of mirth. I think if you've never listened to Around the NFL, you should check us out, because Around the NFL was like one of the biggest NFL podcasts before NFL media shut them down.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Justin. We really appreciate it, man. Again, you can follow him at Titans Film Room on Twitter. He gave you all the podcast handles. You got to check those out. And yeah, Justin, enjoy the game this weekend. Are you going to be watching at your house there? Are you going out to a Titans bar? What's the deal for that?
No, I'm working on Sunday. We got to do a Heed the Call recap pod that night. So I will have Red Zone on one screen. I will have the Titans game probably on my laptop. I'll probably have another game that I'm responsible for covering on an iPad or something. I'm going to have everything up, but definitely at home. So you guys enjoy the game as well. Thank you so much for having me on. I had a fun time. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Justin.
thanks, Justin. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the game.
You too. Bye.
All right, see ya.
That's Justin Graver, and you can follow him at Titans Film Room. Make sure that you do follow him at Titans Film Room, because when the Chicago Bears beat the hell out of the Tennessee Titans, you need to be in his mentions at Titans Film Room and let him know. And we ain't scoring no measly 14 points. I don't know what he's watching. I don't know what offense he's been watching. I don't know what quarterback he's been getting ready for. But our Chicago Bears will be dropping no less than 43 points on Sunday.
So you know the guest was really good when every single one of Chris's questions were answered without even directly asking him the questions.
Don't need to. I've watched all of it, like everything that my questions were about. Well, I mean, obviously my questions were pretty straightforward. You know, they have an entirely new coaching staff. You have an entirely new roster. Like, what do you think is going to happen? The only thing we didn't get to was like what his Kevin Byard thoughts were, but that's fine. That's and all the Bears Titans connections. You know, Chris Harris, former Chicago Bear, being the defensive backs coach in Tennessee, and also
He wasn't that good when he was here.
Tyke Tolbert being the wide receivers coach for the Titans, which he was not good here. He was terrible here.
He didn't develop any wide receivers.
Not a one. Not single one. Even DJ got worse. No, he didn't get worse.
I can't get over that Justin was talking about how the Titans are trying to rein in Will Levis. When I hear those two words together, I'm just like, rein in Will Levis. That just doesn't. It's not even a thought that goes through my mind.
It's 4 words.
It's
Could you imagine
two thoughts.
If we had to actually rein in Justin Fields instead of like he was right. You'd rather have that problem where a quarterback is too aggressive than, doesn't trust himself and will throw the damn football. But we don't have that problem anymore. We're moving on. I'm surprised Justin didn't want to get our score predictions because
he don't care. He was on the spit about his Tennessee. He was on the spit about his two-tone blue propaganda bullshit, and we sat here and took it. We sat here and took it, and you guys asked me before the show to be nice. You said, "Oh, be professional," but we didn't get a chance to tell him that the Bears are going to kick the Tennessee Titans' ass on Sunday. It's on. Look, 17-0. It's in the bag, and it starts on Sunday.
You got your Bama love in. You definitely got your Bama love in.
Know what? I was trying to do an inside joke and
go to men to the Bama love.
All three. If you're watching us on YouTube, which all two people that do go back and watch us on YouTube, you can see that as soon as the first time I did it, Lucas and Chris cracked a smile, and I think I cracked a smile the second time too, that was what it was for. That's all I wanted to do it for was to make y'all smile for just a second. I didn't care what he had.
If your whole goal in life is to make me smile, Joe, then that's what friends are for.
Well, during this hour and change, it absolutely is my goal.
Oh, that's easy.
I got some big news to share. The Caleb Williams jersey will be coming out of the bag on Sunday.
Ooh!
That's not news. You broke that news like weeks ago.
It's on the precipice of coming out of the bag.
Did you get white as well?
Yep.
You guys got the same one.
Right. Perfect. It's perfect. But I don't want to eat anything or drink anything, or I don't want the dog to be near me.
I think I'm going to eat wings with mine.
You better have a napkin halfway down your jersey.
I think the only way to take care of these is to dry clean them too. Like I wouldn't wash this.
No. You
can't.
So definitely don't eat wings with it. Not recommended.
It's just like I'll just starve it.
You can just be good about like eating wings. If you can't eat wings without spilling, then you either got some saucy ass wings, which that's fine, or you're an unprofessional wing eater.
It doesn't matter if it's wings or nachos or burgers or anything, hot dogs.
Joe, who
anything.
is sitting there watching the Bears just housing burgers?
Me.
You just eat
Stress-
burgers,
stress-
multiple
stressing.
burgers.
Pizza, stress eating.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever eaten a burger watching the Bears.
Why not?
It's just not a food that I eat on football days. I don't know.
On Sunday afternoon, get you a burger? A burger and
For
fries
real?
to drown your
Like-
sorrows?
Like, what? Like outside of wings, since we've already talked about those, what else are you eating? Pizza?
Right. Pizza, nachos.
Yeah. Joe named everything, and then he said burgers, and I'm just like, who's eating multiple burgers while watching the Bears?
I mean, multiple, unless they're sliders, like that's a problem. But like a burger and fries, that sounds like a fine meal.
I just saying I've never eaten that while watching the Bears. I don't know.
I will tell
maybe
you,
should
like,
start.
I will tell you the
you're the reason
honest.
we've lost for so many years because you haven't had your goddamn burger.
The oddest like tradition I ever had with watching football is we used to go to a sushi restaurant every Sunday in Arizona. There's a bomb sushi restaurant, but the funny thing is we didn't get sushi. We always got wings. They were great wings, like awesome. It was hilarious, but we'd get like wings in the morning, and then like by the time the Sunday night football game rolled around, pretty shit faced and ate sushi. Yeah, it was good.
That's awesome.
That is good. That does sound
All
fun.
right. Well, we had our Titans guest. We have football tomorrow. We have the Ravens versus the Chiefs. But I need to hear our thoughts on this Titans game. For real, Joe Gaither, I know you think the Bears will win.
Yes.
But like, give me
Listen to
some,
what he said. Listen to what Justin Graver said. I'll be serious and take what he said. He talked about, we don't know. These wide receivers might be in not out of position, but not the best position against the defensive backs we've got. And dude, Will Levis, he is a wild card. Will Levis, I
want
like
to see him throw the ball.
Yeah,
Because
I
if
do like
if he
him.
checks it down all the game, then yeah, that's playing right into what the Bears are not necessarily good at. I want to see that. I want to see that guy throw the ball with his butterfingers down the field
Yeah, right.
and hold it in the pocket.
Exactly. I think that you will have to. I think that's who he is. I think that who he naturally is that he's gonna make a dumb decision here or there, even if it is trying to be checked down Charlie. He's still gonna make a dumb decision here or there. I don't have any. We've talked all year about concerns on the defensive line. This is a team with Tony Pollard running the ball that doesn't make me nervous. I said it when we had Justin. It's covering these guys out of the backfield. It's keeping tabs on these guys out of the backfield because that's the way I think that they could successfully nickel and dime us. If they're trying to nickel and dime us with DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd, our guys will be all over those bastards. Because DeAndre Hopkins, I love him so much, but he's over the hill. And
It's a
Calvin
bad
Ridley,
matchup versus the corners we have.
yes, exactly.
Ridley's the only guy I'm worried about. Ridley and, as Chris alluded to, the running backs catching the ball out of the backfield.
You say, a serious prediction. All right. I do think that it will be tougher to score than I have alluded to, for sure. But he said 14 points. Get out of here with that. You're going to score. This offense is going to have a lot of answers. Is what I noticed in preseason. And obviously, the starters barely played in preseason. They played the half against the Bengals and 2 drives against the Bills. So you barely saw them, but you saw a lot of answers throughout the preseason, whether it was Ripien or Austin Reed or whether it was Tyson Bagent playing quarterback. There was just a ton of answers out there. And so you take that structure and you plug in the actual starters, and goodness gracious, yeah, I do agree with your boy Justin. Justin's take that Justin Fields or the Caleb Williams needs to play more into the structure than what we saw in preseason. But what we saw was still a small sample size. I think we're going to score 28, 31, 28. I think 31 is probably too much. That's probably me getting in my 28, 27. I think you're going to be. I don't think scoring is going to be a problem. And so I'm looking forward to the game. I think the Bears are going to win, 27, 28, 28, 28, 20, maybe 28, 17, maybe. I don't really fear the Titans at all.
Yeah, I don't necessarily fear the Titans, especially with like all the changes they have going. And that's something that I probably don't take into consideration or haven't taken into consideration enough with the Bears in the past, is just how much turnover and change things really do affect the team. So having an entirely new coaching staff with an entirely new group of guys in Tennessee is going to make it hard for them to gel and to play as a cohesive unit. So I don't know about, scoring 27, 28 points just because we're dealing with the same thing on our end. Keenan's new, Rome's new, Williams is new,
Waldron's new,
Waldron's new,
the center's new,
Gerald Everett's new, the center's new. So I wouldn't be surprised to see but what's not new? That defense isn't new at all. Eberflus isn't new. The only thing new about the defense is the defensive coordinator, and he's a pseudo defensive coordinator, right? It's still going to be Eberflus calling the plays. So I feel confident that we'll shut down the Titans offense just because there's so much newness.
Yeah.
Spanking newness. 17-10.
Ooh.
I'm going to change my score. I think 2 weeks ago I said 24-17. I'm going to drop it a touchdown each.
17-10. Yeah, no, I'm on board with you, Chris. I think the Titans are a team that I think some people I think are coming to the realization they're probably not as bad as we kind of make them out to be originally in our head. Like I said,
Sure.
they got some nice pieces in the secondary, and Simmons is obviously a monster, but they're very beatable with a lot of unknowns. The receiving core is nice as well, but I think this game comes down to what you said, Chris. Too many new pieces, too many new coaches. It takes a while to gel. I mean, we saw with Eberflus. Look how bad of a start the Bears got off to last year in his second season as the Bears coach. It just
really wanted to fire him last year.
It takes a while for these guys to get going, gel together, learn the new systems, learn the new lingo. And honestly, the Bears are at a major advantage with how much more practice they've had. They've had the full extra week of being on Hard Knocks and in the Hall of Fame game. They're returning Eberflus. So big advantage Bears for once in the coaching aspect, the preparedness aspect. And then I do think this game really comes down to, same thing applies to the Titans' trenches in their offensive line. I mean, that unit being new is a scary proposition, and it works in the Bears' favor because obviously we've talked about how the Bears don't have a ton of depth on the D-line, but if you're putting J.C. Latham on Montez Sweat, good luck, Latham. He's a beast, and it's going to be his first start. Just good luck, my friend. That's going to be a matchup to watch. I think that the Bears' defense should – the Bears defense should have a damn good game. And really, the Titans don't pose much of a threat to run the ball at all. I mean, I'm not scared of Pollard or Spears running. Like Chris said, there are more threats out of the backfield receiving, and obviously running the ball is not everything, but if you're not even going to pose a threat to doing that, then
we're going to fuck them up.
Good luck. Good luck to you.
But on the flip side, it's going to be a matter of, can Caleb handle, whatever they throw out in week one? Can he not make a backbreaking mistake? Those kind of things. So
we are just going to fuck them up, Luke.
I don't think it's that easy, but I do think they should win.
It's going to be a physical battle, and our guys are finally ready to win a physical game.
I hope so, man. I hope so. But it's going to be about avoiding the cliche backbreaking mistake on offense.
We got Caleb Williams now. We're fine. No such thing as a rookie mistake anymore. We don't. He doesn't make those. That's what y'all promised.
These curses have to stop. I mean, not curses, but these trends have to stop sooner or later.
Yeah, y'all promised me that this guy was different.
I hope so. But it's a double-edged sword, Joe Gaither. When you're a magician out of structure and you do all this crazy shit, sometimes the simple stuff is better in certain situations. When the game's counting, the bullets are flying, the simple stuff is better.
But Luke, if
you should probably listen to us, because Luke and I have been on the Velus Jones bandwagon, and per your text message today, I love him now.
I was just doing.
I love him now. If I need to share my screen and show everybody the Google messages where you said I love him now, I can do that. So
no, you can share your screen. I definitely text that.
Talking your shit about Caleb and being like putting that kind of negative energy on this team before
negative energy. You cannot
even starts.
I am Mr. 17-0.
Yeah, but not on freaking Caleb's nuts. You're not. You're like, oh, you're probably still mad he wears nail polishes and carries a purse.
No, I've already got money on the Bears this weekend.
I thought you were gonna say I already started wearing nail polish.
Well, I tried to make a bet with a guy who let's just say he would never wear some nail polish. He was really getting after Caleb, and I said, "Hey, you're a Titans fan, right? How about week number 1? Whoever wins, when the Bears win, you have to wear a nail polish. If the Titans win, I'll wear a nail polish." No, I can't do that. I can't make that wager. I can't make. I was just like, okay, buddy. But no, I already have money on the Bears week 1, and you guys know I am the least of the three of us when it comes to gambler. I'm confident. I'm excited. Velus Jones, Caleb Williams, it's on, baby. Except no, I'm still kind of apprehensive about Velus Jones. That text message was just to get you riled up.
A team wanted to trade for him, though.
Yep. Yeah.
Joe would have shipped them off if he was the GM.
Hell yes, I would have. What do you think they offered?
A 6th.
Yeah. See ya. Get the fuck out of here.
I wouldn't give him up. At that point, what's the point of trading?
Oh, so Paul said he wants to accept anything less than a 4.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It was confusing how he set up with that. I think that's what he was getting at. I can't imagine anyone offered more than probably a 6th for him. It's probably a 7th in all honesty, but
take that. Take the pick and run. Take the pick and say.
Wait, dude, how are you going to say that? We haven't even seen what he can do at running back yet.
When are you going to see it? When
this year?
If DeAndre Swift inevitably gets hurt,
no, they're going to give him more carries this year.
Dude, I don't think
DeAndre Swift will get hurt.
DeAndre Swift is the guy that just cannot get 200 touches no matter how healthy he is. No coaching staff likes him enough, apparently. So they're gonna. He's not in a committee per se.
He's in a committee.
I don't think so.
No, I think he's the one.
I think he'll still get 65% of the touches.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that what we're considering a committee, though? Like 60-40?
Like bell cow's a 70. Like that's 70% of the touches is considered a freaking like bell cow running.
He's the man. He's going to be the best RB2 in fantasy football a guy could want.
That's where my money's at this weekend, Joe Gaither. DeAndre Swift, 11.5 receiving yards. Easy cash.
I put that in.
Fucking easy, yes.
I'm not the one that made the line. Put it in. It's even money. Well, it's like 110.
I don't think it's 110 anymore. I think it's like 120 now.
Is that the move? I got a friend. I think
it's 117 actually. When I put it in, I think it was 117.
You go double or nothing on my account. DeAndre Swift. That's my one bet for the weekend.
Listen,
if you had $100 bet,
yeah, that's what it would be on. And And Justin even confirmed it more when he's like, "Yeah, these linebackers can't cover." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, that bet I made is looking even better now." I was
Screen
like,
pass. Yeah.
Everyone's, I don't know. Everyone's sleep. I know we don't do it here, but a lot of people are just like talking about everyone else besides DeAndre Swift. And he's the one guy you can't just forget about because he's a fucking big play waiting to happen.
They just gave him a ton of money, dude.
Yes, and
Just
like
give
everyone
this
was
dude
like,
that
"Oh,
much money to like be like, nah,
Dude,
we're not.
I'm
gonna
not
do
saying us. I'm just saying no one talks
Right.
about him. It's weird.
No, I know. Like they
Everybody out
and they
here
tried
is
to
like-
give money to Saquon, dude. So you know they want to use that style of running back, that kind of bell cow-ish. But I still don't think he'll get.
They all were talking about, oh, the Bears didn't play him in preseason, so they must not value him.
There's a
Oh,
for
they're
that.
gonna play, whatever Roshan Johnson more and whatever Khalil what's his nuts more. So they're gonna play, It's like no. The reason they held him out was because they wanted to make sure he was healthy and ready to go. We gonna
I think
ride
they-
that
I
bitch
think
till the
they
wheels
don't.
fall off.
I think they don't love Khalil Herbert, but he's gonna make them because he's just that good.
We
And
don't
I-
want these nuts.
They think they might be concerned about Roshan, honestly.
That's
why
that's who.
that's where the Vilas thing kind of pokes its head out. But
They-
Vilas pass protect is the problem.
we don't care. You just put him on toss
We
sweep.
don't
Baylor.
care.
We don't
left.
care.
Toss sweep left, toss sweep right. Bayless Jones. Touchdown.
Yo, that's Ryan Pauls in the freaking conference room with his coaches. But can Bayless pass protect? And the coach is, what's his name? Chad Morton's just like, we don't care.
Jennifer King popping
Jennifer
out. We
King.
don't care.
We don't care. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that running backs coach was stumping hard for him.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
stumped.
Yeah, he was definitely stoked for Vilas Jones.
He was stumped up.
Bayless
was an
left, Bayless
interesting-
right.
That was an interesting way that they went around asking for the opinions of all the coaching staff and like basically bringing up one person per group.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that Ripien went to the Vikings. That's kind of shitty because he's just going to expose everything. Not expose, but he's just going to talk to them about what we do.
It was a
That's
great
the only reason they
episode.
signed him.
It
It
was
was a good
such a great episode. It was, to me, episode 3 was the best, and then this one, episode 5, was second best. And
Episode
then-
3 was the propaganda episode, right?
Oh, it's
Clean it
so
up.
good. Yeah. Episode 4 was the worst out of the.
Oh my god, I fell asleep, dude. In all honesty, man,
Terrible.
Adrian Colbert stuff put me to sleep, dude. The guy's different. I mean, maybe in person he comes. They all talk about his spirit and his
I don't care.
his aura and all
Put
this.
DJ Moore and put Keenan Allen on the screen. Put Roman Dunes on the screen.
I thought you were going to say, I don't care. Put shoes on. I thought that's what you were going to say.
No,
Like
I
it's
don't give a
what
rip
is
about the practice squad, dude.
well. That's
Okay,
what's
with
interesting.
shoes on.
That's like what Lucas was saying about the human side of things. I thought that was the most interesting piece of like polls is like him spending enough time with a guy that low on the roster to have that deep of a connection with.
Right. Yeah. Fully agree.
I think it's pretty
was
cool.
faking.
Right. Yep. Here goes Joe with his negative energy again.
I still can't believe Eberflus's house, man. Place is
Do that. Oh
sweet.
my god, the freaking lake right there. Oh my god. And they have property. Like they're like,
Yeah.
oh, we're just gonna walk around our property and go stare at our bees.
Matt Eberflus,
Fuck.
if either of your daughters are
Nope.
eligible age,
Nope. What? They're not eligible age, Lucas?
They're not for Joe.
Oh, why not?
Just can't get over his negative talk. Can't have him dating a coach's daughter.
That's fair. That's 100% fair. I think one of them might be of age. The other one might be a little young. His
nope. We
His
don't.
wife ain't bad looking either.
Oh yeah, she's very attractive as well. Absolutely, but we don't want to move in on any married couples. We wish
No.
the Eberfluses a happy and healthy marriage.
100%. Absolutely.
All right. We're at an hour.
We're at an hour, so
You
here's the
guys
deal.
give your
I want
predictions.
one bold prediction from everybody on the game. And I have a question to maybe spark your mind, Luke, for your bold prediction. My
I already got
question is, will Valus Jones get into the end zone, yes or no? In any fashion, in any facet of the game, yes or no?
No. Not this
All right.
week.
So give me your bold prediction then and get and
I need to think about my bold prediction, but Chris can go first since he has his.
okay.
Um,
And then and the synopsis of the game, obviously.
synopsis of the game.
Like predict the game along with your bold prediction.
So I said, I think it is gonna be a defensive game. They're going to score a couple touchdowns and a field goal. I think it's going to be 17-10. They're going to run the ball, control the clock. But I think defense is going to show out, and we may even see a defensive touchdown. That would be cool. But my bold prediction is 3 sacks for Mr. Montez Sweat.
Woo! 3 sacks for Montez.
JC Latham is going to get eaten alive.
Roll Tide. That's what
Roll
I'll say
Tide.
every time.
Roll into the ground.
That's what I'll
Tidal
say.
wave into the ground.
I hope you have. I love you, JC, but I hope you have a very difficult first game in the NFL.
Going to get dominated.
Luke, you got one, or you need me to fill more time for you?
Peter Skoronski's going to get owned by Jervon Dexter.
I got one. I mean, I don't even know if it's that. I don't know if it's that bold, but it's
3 sacks, Montez Sweat, pretty bold, nice and bold. We like it. It's up to you, Luke. Your beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Boldness is in the eye of the beholder.
I was gonna say Bears defense gets 2 turnovers. Caleb Williams throws for 2 touchdowns and 1 interception.
Okay, we like it. We like it. And the game goes like what in Lucas's eyes?
The Bears will win. The Bears will win. You guys got me thinking. I don't know. I can see him scoring. I feel like the Bears should score 24 points, but I don't know if they'll get there. All right, fine.
I don't think they give up more than 1 touchdown.
You don't think
Yeah,
the
I can see
Titans
it.
give up more than 1 touchdown?
Bears win 24-13.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Something like along the lines of like 13.
Oh,
I was thinking 20. Yeah, that was my other lean.
24-13. Bears defense, 2 takeaways. I'll say they have 4 sacks. Caleb Williams, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. I like that, Krista. I think Sweat's going to have – he should have a big
Dude, he had a monster camp.
effing day.
Monster camp. They that's like Hogan Johns talked about his camp like they talked about Khalil Mack's camp. Like he should come out this year and just dominate.
Get your cowbell
Hopefully-
ready.
Hopefully, homie on the other side, that new kid, can't remember his name already.
Austin Booker.
Oh no, the rookie's name. The guy from Seattle that they traded for.
Trailer Taylor.
Trent Taylor. Taylor Wilson.
Torrey Taylor.
All right,
Taylor
all right,
Smith.
Joe.
Taylor Swift.
Give us your prediction. Your bold
My
prediction.
bold prediction is that
It's gonna be DeAndre Swift related for his fantasy team. 2
well,
touchdowns for DeAndre Swift.
my bold prediction is that Roma Dunze will score in his NFL debut.
Wow,
I like that.
That's a big one. I like it too.
Joe, honestly, part of me wants to put a few bucks on Roma Dunze for its touchdown score.
Anytime
On Sunday.
touchdown. I feel
It's I in my head, it's between him and Gerald Everett for an
I was gonna
anytime
say
touchdown.
Everett's Ever for the anytime touchdown.
but I do like DeAndre Swift. I was gonna say over 150 all-purpose yards.
Woo!
You might get what is that? 60 and 70. 60 yards
That's
rushing,
bold, my friend. I don't think that'll happen.
60 yards rushing, 90 yards receiving.
Hey, we just need 12 yards receiving.
Well, I'm going to tell you on
that.
that. I'm going to tell you on that, Luke, for my weekend. Well, we'll see. But yeah, I'm taking Bears. The Bears all the way. I'm going 28. Yeah, I'm still feeling
Yeah, I'm still.
28-20. I'm
All
still
right.
feeling 28-20.
Okay, I like it.
And Roma Dunze is one of those. What is that? 4 touchdowns. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Everybody's gonna go home happy.
All right, we got it. 3 Bears wins on here, and a loss.
Justin Graver from Titans Film Room. You can follow him at Titans Film Room. He picked the Titans to win. He's going to be wrong. So make sure you at Titans Film Room after the Bears win and let him know that you appreciated his time, but he was wrong. He can carry that L all the way back to Los Angeles as the Bears move to 1-0.
I don't think he's gonna I don't think he's gonna move. I don't think he moved from that chair, dude. I mean, like you said, he's gonna have freaking games up
4
on his
games
iPad, games up on his phone, games up on his
Well, he
laptop,
could
and his red
he
zone
could
on the TV.
It's a busy
Just hammer
man.
that L into his poster board. Just hang it up there for him. 28-20. Caleb Williams, NFC Rookie of the Week. NFC Rookie of the Week.
All right, Joe Gaither, sing the song. Take us
Bear
home.
down, Chicago Bears. Make every play clear the way to victory. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Put up a fight with the might so fearlessly. We'll never forget the way you thrill the nation. With your key formation, bear down, Chicago Bears. And let them know why you're wearing the crown. You're the pride and joy of Illinois, Chicago Bears. Bear down.